Hey there, Prairie Plant Girl here. I'm in the greenhouse because I'm grabbing a basket so I can go do some harvesting this morning. We're going to be harvesting some onions. They're looking like they're ready to get pulled, at least most of them I think, so we'll have a look at those. And that will make some room for these cabbage starts that I started last week, I think it was. And they're not quite ready to get transplanted out, and you can see the Taiwan just absolutely has no germination for some reason. Not sure why, because I started some in that same pack this spring, but the other two varieties are looking really good. I'll have to look at the days to maturity on that Taiwan and see if it's worth trying to start some again, but the others will be ready in a week or so here to go in the garden, so we'll get those onions out of the way so there's somewhere to put these. In the meantime, they can just stay there and get bigger. And then I brought out a knife. I'm thinking if I have time after I get the onions pulled up, because that shouldn't take long, I'm going to harvest a little bit of my celery. Celery is getting really big, and I just pull a few stalks off here and there when I need it, but right now it's getting really big and getting a little bit tough because it's getting older. I'm not keeping up with it, and it's probably full of slugs inside, so if I harvest some now, I can cut it up and freeze it, and then I'll have some throughout the whole winter. And I can let the rest of the plants, I won't harvest the whole plants, and then they can keep growing. I'll have some nice, fresh, beautiful celery for just eating fresh again, because right now it's just getting a little bit not as nice to be eating fresh. It'll be good though for cooking into soups and stews and chilies and whatever I want to put it in. So let's get out to the garden, get the onions harvested, and then hopefully we can get some celery as well. So here's my first bed of onions that I want to look at today. This is Ailsa Craig. It's pretty wet out here. It's fairly early in the morning, and we had a ton of rain yesterday, so things are going to be pretty wet. Not ideal for harvesting, but we're supposed to have some really heavy forest fire smoke rolling in here. I think in the next couple of hours. I want to get this job done and not have to be out working in the smoke. So I am going to pull these up. So I have this little cabbage to work around. You can barely see it, but what I'm looking for is, when I'm looking at the onions to see if they're ready, is the neck is very floppy and fallen over on its own. I'm not pushing them over to get them to finish their cycle. It's fallen over on its own, so there's less nutrients coming into the onion bulb. It's done. It's tired now, so it's ready to pull them out, and then I'll show you what I do with them after I pull them out. So like I said, it would be more ideal to turn the water off or do this on a dry day, just so you don't have as much mud sticking to your onion. But you can see this one's very floppy in the neck, and usually you can just come and pull them up. I didn't actually bring anything with me, so maybe I need to go get, oh yeah, these have good roots on them. I'll have to go grab a lifter. Okay, so I just grabbed a little lifting fork. I'm trying to be careful because I have some young carrots planted along here. I'll just go down along the side, so I'm not hitting the onion. And onions are grown more on the top of the soil for the most part. It's just their roots we're getting out. And I'll take it out. And there's our onion. So that's a nice onion. Ailsa Craig, I don't remember if I told you the variety. So I'm gonna put it in my basket, and I'll just get the rest out unless they aren't ready to go, and move on to the next batch. Wow, my basket's almost overflowing. Well, it is overflowing. But I have a few more over here, just on the other side of this tenting for the cabbage. So since the cabbage moths have already been under this tent, I'm gonna pull it up anyways, get these onions out, and I'll let the birds have a go at these at the cabbage worms for a day, and then I'll put it back on. That's a lot of onions. I didn't realize how many onions I'd planted in there. I need to go root around to find the name tag for this variety, and I'll show you. I have a couple left, I think like 2, that just aren't quite ready, so we'll leave those there to finish up. One might actually be trying to go to seed on me, but I have lots here, so we'll leave it and see what it's doing, and then we'll go in and have a look at these in the greenhouse, get them laid out, and try and get the Valencia onions and the celery. So down here is my name tag and 1 onion that's left. You can see how it's standing up nice and strong on the neck still. So there's that one, and then there's this one here. Can't see it as well, and it kind of looks like it's, I don't know why, but I just feel like it looks like it's trying to go to seed. Otherwise, I think the rest were all ready to come out. And now I have a nice big space there that I can put some cabbage in. It doesn't look as big from your view, but there's definitely some room in there now that some cabbage can go in when it's ready. So that'll be good. We just need to get that big pile of onions put up. Wow. Okay, I know the lighting's not the best in here, but this is a great spot for me to be able to put them and to keep them while they're finishing their curing process. So I grabbed the little tag so I know what variety this is. And these are pretty nice onions. I have a few that went kind of elongated, but for the most part, they're really nice. Like, look at this. This one here, this is a really nice size onion. I mean, you can get monster onions, but what do you do with it? So I like this size. Ailsa Craig, I've never grown these before, but they seem like a nice onion. I've had a few, they taste good. And so all I'm gonna do with them now is I'm gonna leave the roots on. I tried to shake most of the dirt off, especially because it's wet from all that rain we've had. And I'm gonna leave the stem on, and I'm just gonna be laying them out on these wire racks here, and hopefully this will be my first year using these racks for this, so hopefully there's enough weight and they don't get tippy because they're not the most high quality rack. But I'm just going to lay them out and try and get them to dry and let those tops dry off, and that'll give more kind of energy into the root here, and that will help it to store longer. So they'll sit here for a week or 2, or whenever I get back to them. And then I'll take them and I'll just brush any remaining dirt off of them. I'll trim the roots right close to the bulb part here, and I'll trim the stem off, usually right around where it bent is where I kind of just do it. And then I try to keep as much of the wrapper intact, and they'll go inside my house in a nice, cool, ventilated storage area. I don't have a proper root cellar space, but I just put them in my basement where it's cool, where they'll get airflow. Usually they store pretty well. Once the cold weather sets in, I actually put them out in my garage. Even though it's heated a lot cooler than my house. And that seems to be really ideal. That's a nice onion. So like I said, ideally you turn the water off and have a dry space to be harvesting your onions, and then you wouldn't have this. I don't know if you can see how muddy the stalks are from me pulling them out, but it's been very rainy and it's been smoky, and the slugs are starting to come out, so I'm just trying to get what's in my garden out before the slugs get it. I don't know how much damage they would actually do to onions anyways, but you may have seen I found a great big one climbing along an onion. I suspect they maybe sleep in these stem crevices at night. Slugs will do that. They'll go hang out in like bunches of dahlias and irises and things at night, and then, or I mean during the day, and then they'll come out at night. So I have quite a few onions here. I'm just going to be doing this for the next few minutes. You don't need to watch that, but I'll bring you back when I'm done, and we'll go, I think, do the celery because it's kind of in my way to get to the Valencia onions, and then we'll try and get the Valencias. There's about 50 onions here, so that was more than I really expected. Still 2 more in that patch. And the Valencias, so there was quite a few less, I believe, of the Valencias, so hopefully they fit here, or else we'll have to expand out. But as you can see, this part of the greenhouse doesn't get a lot of direct sun on it this time of year. There's some big trees on this side of it, so in the morning the roof, the way I have it designed, shades this side, and in the afternoon, because it's the summer and the trees are fully leaved out, they shade this side now. So it doesn't really matter if they're direct sun, but I don't know, I just feel like they dry out, you know, it gives them more time to kind of slowly dry out. If you have them in a shadier, little bit cooler spot, there's good airflow that's coming through here, and we cool down at night. So being out of the sun is going to go a long way to help them out that way. It does get hot in here still during the day. It will get upwards of 40 degrees Celsius, but it will cool down quite a bit again at night. So it should be good for them. Another way that you can store your onions to dry them is if you have racking that you can fit the stem through, which I used to have. So some of my other videos, you'll see where I've stuck them through the racking and just stood them up like this. That just helps if there's any moisture stuck in the stem, especially with it being so wet this year. That would be handy, just to make sure it's draining out and not getting caught and getting any rot happening in here. But usually that's not a huge concern, and I think these should be okay like this. I looked through, I didn't see any that were super damaged, but once they're dried out a bit more, I'll bring you back. We'll have a look and see, you know, when we're storing, things to think about and consider when we're storing and how to do that. But that'll be in a few weeks. So now let's go cut some celery, and then I'll be able to pull up those Valencia onions as well. This is a space we're going to be working in next. And it's going to be kind of a tight squeeze. You can see the celery right there. It's become kind of a hedge. I have an apple tree that's really needs to be harvested soon too before I lose some limbs. It's been dropping apples all over. And then there's beets in the front of this bed, and if you look way in there, there's some onions down a row there. And then I have my trellis, so I can only access those onions from this side because my trellis with my watermelon on it is over here, which, let's have a quick look at that watermelon. So again, we're getting to the end of the season here, but I don't know if these will have time to size up, but that's a sweet Siberian, I believe, right there. There's another one there. That actually looks like one as well. There should be some moon and stars, and I can't even remember what the other one is. Scaly bark. Oh, this could be a scaly bark. I don't think I have any moon and stars, but lots coming. I've tried to cut back most of them. I have to come in and do a couple more, but I've cut the stem off. Oh, my fingernails are filthy from picking those onions. Cut the stem off so that it's not putting any more energy into putting more stem and more blooms than it needs. where the pumpkin is. You can see this one here. If this continues to grow, then I'll cut this part of the stem off, and that'll help put more energy, I think, into the watermelon. And this one looks like it's growing another stem here too. I have already cut one off, but it looks like I might need to come in and cut some more off that one. Just try and keep the energy going into the fruit and not the stems. Let's get that celery now. So here's the celery. It's tango celery. That's the only variety I've ever grown. I grow it from seed. Started really, really early. What is it? I think it's like the end of February when I start it. Something like that. And I normally just come in and I just push a stem down, snap it off, get it. And this one's actually not too bad, but some of these are getting pretty old, so that if I come in and harvest a bunch off, then the plants will continue to get some nice smaller pieces, and I can have some in the freezer already. Oh, that's why it's sent up a side shoot. That's why I have some nice young ones here. So if I get in the back, these are thicker. Better, you can see how much thicker these are here. No slugs. Slugs love to live in celery. In fact, here's some slug damage. I don't know how well it'll show on the camera, but see those little chew marks? That's slug damage. So I might just take this whole old stalk, since it's growing some new ones off the side. The lady, oh, there's a slug. They love it in here. And there's a ladybug hanging out. That's a good guy, but we'll leave him in the garden to do his work. Oh, there's a bunch of you see all those ladybugs? Off you go, ladybugs. Stay here. Stay in the garden. I've just knocked them all into my basket. Where'd that slug go? I'm gonna get rid of him. Okay, so I'm just taking the old celery off. Like, see that? Severely damaged from slugs. So I'll just put that in the compost. Yeah, I could save the bottom part of this, but I have a ton of celery. I don't need every little bit, and the compost can use it. So, oh, ladybugs. Ladybugs everywhere. I wish they ate the slugs too. There must be aphids or something in here. Slugs love hanging out in celery. Okay, that is a huge basket of celery. I'm gonna chop that up. That's gonna give me quite a bit of celery for my freezer. So I think we'll stop there. I usually have a few people that want a good bunch of celery for different cooking projects that they're doing. So relishes and things. So we'll leave some of that for them and some for me for fresh eating. Okay, I honestly don't know how much of this you're gonna be able to see, but I can barely get myself in here. And you did just see me harvest onions, but I'm gonna come in here and pull Pull these Valencias up. As you can see, they're all pretty much all knocked over and ready to come out. Might be a couple again that aren't, and I'll just leave them. And I think I'll just pull them up here quick and I'll show you what I get in the end. Way less of those. So just a few of the Valencia, which I knew, I just had picked up a small seed packet to try them, and they weren't planted in ideal conditions. As you could see, onions like full sun. They were in pretty much complete shade back there by this point in time. So I don't think I have anything that's really that exceptional in here, but I won't judge this variety but by what I got off of it. Like, that's probably one of my larger onions. There's some that are just teeny tiny little things, but that was just me trying to jam some more food into another spot in my garden, and I can use these first. The smaller onions won't store as well, but I'll just use the Valencia first, and that will be the plan. And I don't know if the soil's drier back there. I think it was. Probably just more stuff planted in there, and with the tree and that, they're probably not getting as much rain because they just pulled out pretty nicely. I didn't really need my fork. Left some of the roots behind, but that's fine. So I'm just gonna pop them out on the rack here beside the Ailsa Craig, and then I'll be taking the celery in, and like I said, I'm just gonna cut it just into, you know, just like diced celery, and put it in a freezer bag. I'll lay it out on a pan first, freeze it flat, and then I'll just put it in a freezer bag, and it'll just be there for me to use whenever I need celery, when the fresh celery is done. So I'm not going to show you that. It's a pretty basic process. I mean, obviously I'll wash it first, and otherwise I've just told you what I'm doing. That's all it is. Let's get these onions laid out, and we'll have a look at what I wound up with in the end. These Valencia onions, I haven't actually tasted any yet, but they smell really strong compared to the Ailsa Craig. And I'll tell you, it smells so good in here right now with all the onions and the celery. Well, for a quick little job this morning, I did pretty good. I have almost 70 onions sitting here to dry. Like I said, I have, I think, 2 more, maybe 3 left in the garden. And then a great big basket here of celery that I can take in and get set up to go into my freezer for the winter. And that's one of the great things about growing your own food, is not only am I providing food for me and my family and my friends and everyone else for the whole summer, but I'm gonna have all these things still in the winter, and I won't be buying them at the grocery store. They'll just be here at my house ready when I need them. So thanks for coming along with me today to do a little bit of harvesting in my garden. I hope you're having a great time out in your garden this time of year, getting lots of produce to enjoy and starting to get some stored away for the winter. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.